Hey everyone, it's Chris, PDX Picker. Welcome back to another video. We are in the little shop of hoarders today. We're going to pull some orders that sold for me recently on eBay and Poshmark, and I've got a really great topic today that I think some of you, especially the newer resellers, will be able to learn a lot from, and even some of those who have been reselling for a long time. It's a money topic. It's about finances and what exactly do you do with the money once it comes in. So we're going to start by pulling a few orders and we'll get right into that topic, all of that just after the intro song, so stick around.
Wanna buy that Farrah Fawcett poster? Pez dispensers and a toaster. Don't know why. That kind of stuff you throw away. I'll sell on eBay.
All right, so we have 12 items going out here. One is my biggest sale and maybe ever. I'm not exactly sure, so pretty excited about that one. So we're gonna pull a few orders and get right into that topic about money. All right, so the first order that sold for me is something from Poshmark. It is an LL Bean fisherman sweater. And where is that? Is this it? Fisherman, here it is. I'm gonna try something new here. I'm gonna place my sold items in a different place because I've been putting them on my shipping table, which makes it hard for me to ship the items once I've set them all there. So I'm gonna set them over here, or at least some of them, and that's not good. So we'll set them over here, and hopefully that will work for displaying the ones that have sold. So this first item that sold, like I mentioned, on Poshmark, it is a vintage LL Bean fisherman sweater. So it's double XL. I don't know if that tag's gonna be able to come through. Made in the USA. Picked this up at my favorite church rummage sale. At least I think I did. Let's take a look here. And I paid $6 for it. It sold for me on Poshmark for $39 plus shipping. I'll get you the exact name for that in case you're ever out there looking for it. It is a 5-button Henley sweater. G718 is the specific model. Whatever. Anyway, nice sale, $39 plus shipping. Next item that sold, they both went to the same buyer. I picked these up quite some time ago, probably 2 years ago, and I didn't list them for quite some time, which is unfortunately something I do from time to time. I think some of us all do, but they are some mini mates from the Ghostbusters line. Let me set this down here. All right, I grabbed them here. They are mini mates from the real Ghostbusters. These are new in the package, and I paid just a little over $5 a piece for these. Let me just double check that I have the right ones. I'm fairly certain I do. All right, so what we have here are Sam Haim, H-A-I-M maybe, and the Egyptian Ghost. That one sold for, this one sold for $29.95 plus shipping. And then we have a Toys R Us exclusive, Evil Slimer and the Sandman, and that one sold for $39.95 plus shipping, both to the same buyer. Like I said, I picked those up for a little over $5 each a couple years ago in an online auction. One more item we'll pull, and then we'll just dive right into the topic. This is not a big sale, but also something that I picked up a couple years ago from an online auction. We've got those two things here. They are items of clothing that I believe are from vintage G.I. Joe. Yeah, from the like from the 60s G.I. Joe. So we have right here, this is the shirt here. It's an Action Man Adventure Team shirt, and then a World War II medical arm band. I'm not actually certain if either of these are from G.I. Joe specifically. I do remember spending quite a bit of time, probably more than I should have, Google imaging and just trying to pinpoint exactly what it was. Settled on just calling these G.I. Joe accessories, and those sold for $10.90, free shipping. They were part of something I spent just a couple of dollars on. There's a few other items in that same collection that I sold separately. One I've sold and another one is still listed. So when I saw them for sale, I didn't know exactly what they were, but they were described as vintage G.I. Joe accessories, and I looked up one particular item, which was like a hat, like a Navy sailor hat. I think I comped it wrong. I thought it was worth more than it was, you know, like in $15 to $20 range just for the hat. But I don't think it was, and anyway, it doesn't matter. I only spent a couple of dollars on it, so I will be in the profit just with this sale right here. All right, I am going to try and have this displayed in a way that it does not have a glare on it, and I think I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it over here. I recently had a comment on a video, and it was a really good question, and the person asked, how much money do I set aside for taxes in my reselling business? And that led me to think, hey, that's a great topic. Let's talk about it in a video. But I'm going to go a little bit further than answering just what do we do with taxes in general. But I want to talk about what do we do with basically all the money that comes in? How do we divvy it up and split it up appropriately and wisely in a way that is most effective for the long-term success of your business? So I'm going to discuss a method that I learned from a book that I read that was discussing finances for resellers specifically, online resellers in general. And I want you to know that you can adapt this exactly as I do it for you. You can take bits and pieces of it and use part of it and then try different tactics that work for yourself, or you can just ignore this completely because you think it's a terrible idea. Whatever it is, my point is this is just one example and it's not necessarily going to be the right one for you, but it's something that you can definitely consider if you don't already have a system in place. So I want us to think about this topic in terms of what should we do with every dollar that comes into our business. Of course, we're going to magnify that by the actual number of dollars that you make, but I want us to track a hypothetical dollar that comes into the business. I'm going to do this on this whiteboard. I hope that there isn't a big glare. If there is, I'm going to cut in and redo this in a different area that doesn't have the glare, but let's go from here. All right, so here's my whiteboard, and I'm going to start with this $1 coming in right here at the top. So this is a dollar that we've earned from eBay or Poshmark or wherever it is, and now it's been deposited into our bank account. So that dollar for me is split into 4 separate bank accounts. We have an operating expense account. I apologize for my handwriting if it's not the most beautiful thing in the world. We have an owner pay account. We have a taxes account and a profit account. Now I actually have 4 separate accounts with my bank, one for each of these, and I've labeled them almost exactly what this says here. The ones that have money sitting there for longer periods of time, like my taxes account, I actually have it as a savings account. But a lot of these other ones are just checking accounts because there's money that goes in and out fairly regularly, and this operating expense account should definitely be a checking account. So once that dollar comes in, like I said, it gets divided into these 4 accounts. And these are the percentages that I use. I take 40 cents or 40% and put it into the operating expense and the owner pay account. We're going to go into more detail exactly what these mean after we go over the percentages. But I take 15%, put it in the taxes account, and 5% goes into profit. So 40 plus 40 is 80, plus 15 is 95, plus 5 is 10. So now we've properly divided our entire dollar into each of these accounts. The operating expense account is, like I said, it's a checking account. It's what you use for any shipping costs, supplies, inventory purchases, sourcing, any subscriptions you have. Think of this as just any expenses that you have for your business. If you want to track your gas expenses this way, you would do your gas in here. That would only be if you're calculating your taxes on not using just the mileage deduction, but that's an example that we probably don't need to get into. But anyway, so any of your expenses in your business, you have going in through the operating expense account. This owner pay account here is what I personally use to pay myself. And how I pay myself is I actually take any money that comes into this account and I use it to pay off any debt. So I took out a loan to pay for this shop here, for example, and that loan, I pay all of that. I make all those payments out of my owner pay account. But this is just exactly what it is. This is your personal income. This is money that you want to take and use it however you want. You could use it to pay for vacations. You could do it to pay for your kids' college fund. You could do it however you want. This is your owner pay, and you can see it's a pretty sizable chunk. And these two specifically are the areas where you can change the percentages a little bit. Maybe you want this only to be 35% and this is 45%. Or maybe you want this to be 30% and the profit account to be 15%, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this is your personal income. That's how you can spend that however you want. And the last two are very simple. Taxes, that's obvious. That's any self-employment taxes. I use that 15% figure because that turns out that that's right around what my tax rate tends to be. That's another number that you can change if you want to be more on the conservative side, or if you are not super great at keeping track of your expenses along the way, and therefore you're not going to have a lot of deductions. You're definitely going to want to up that amount maybe to 25 or 30%. You can also just do what I do and use that as, like I said, a savings account. So when it comes to tax time, quarterly taxes, however often you pay those taxes, if it's once a year quarterly, any money that's left over after you finish paying your taxes, you can take out of there and put it into a personal savings account, or just keep it in as a business savings account, however you want it to work. But like I said, treat that one like savings. You're not going to be taking a lot of money out on any regular basis. It's just money that's going in, every week or couple weeks, or however often you take payments through eBay or the other services and or the other reselling platforms, and stick it in that savings account. This last account here is profit. And I like to think of this one as my retirement, okay? Now, there's various ways that you could treat this profit account. But like I said, I use it for my retirement. So any money that I go in here, I actually put into a Roth IRA. But you can do whatever. That is really bad writing. But that's just personally what I do. So since this is a part-time gig for me, basically this is just a supplement that I have to my retirement through my regular day job. But it is it's just a way for you. It's another savings account of sorts, if you want to think of it that way. So it's money that you're able to fully profit off of and just save and set aside. The reason we have this profit account is because we want this business to generate some form of wealth for us as individuals, as business owners. That wealth can be defined in a variety of manners. When you're building wealth can be $50. You're building your wealth and you have to start somewhere. So you have just a little bit in your profit account. But over time, you want that wealth to build. And so if you're consistently taking 5% of your earnings and putting it into this profit account, like I said, for me, I'm putting it and I'm actually investing it in a Roth IRA, or you could just keep it in there and do whatever, you know, put it in a savings account, just earn the interest off of it, whatever you think is appropriate personally for your circumstances. That is a way to build wealth out of your business, is to use that profit account. One thing that's not in here that some people might want to change significantly or just alter altogether is there's nothing in here for anybody that regularly donates money through, whether that's through their church or just other means. So again, that's why these percentages are just what I personally use, but you're certainly more than welcome to tweak them to whatever you see suits you best. So that's my system. For every dollar that comes in, I actually have an Excel spreadsheet. Let's say I get paid $543.17 out of my eBay account. I put that number, $543.17, into my Excel spreadsheet, and then I have formulas set up so that it'll tell me exactly what 40% is. That would go into the operating expense account, 40% goes to my owner pay account, 15% to taxes, 5% to profit. Tells me what those specific dollar figures are, and then I go into my online banking app and I just transfer money out of the operating expense account into the owner pay, the taxes, and the profit account, and I'm good, I'm set. So it's all pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and it has helped me tremendously when it comes to making sure that I don't spend too much when it comes to sourcing. You know, I don't want to take out more money than I have to spend because I know that I'm keeping it in, you know, keeping track of it in my operating expense account. Or so it's just a nice, simple way to divide up the money that I make, earnings wise, on eBay and all the reselling platforms that I have. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or other systems that you've used that work for you really well, or anything like that. Just put it below in the comments and we'll maybe talk about it in a future video and go from there. Next item that sold, actually from that same box, box 35. I was a little bit concerned about this, and I think it'll turn out okay. But I bought a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes, which are generally pretty nice shoes. Let me show you what they look like here once I get the box put away. Allen Edmonds shoes are dress shoes for men. I don't think they have any women's styles, but here's what they look like right here. They oftentimes will have a model inside. In fact, I'm pretty sure in general they all do. So this is the Auburn model. I think hopefully you can see that back there. And I got to pick these up for $8 at my favorite thrift store. I was a little bit hesitant. These actually have a surprisingly high sell-through rate, and that's the only reason I bought these. A lot of Allen Edmonds shoes do not have a high sell-through rate, but they do sell for good money, the ones that do sell. But these ones, you can see here, they're like the tassels are a little splashy. They're not, it's not the right word I'm trying to think of, but normally these are tighter, and these are quite loose. And I was afraid that might turn somebody off from buying them. So I priced them a little bit lower, but those sold for $40 plus shipping, and I paid $8 for them. I have an old license plate, an Ohio license plate, that I paid $8.20 for. And I sold it for $8, but it's actually inside the house, and I just thought it was neat. It's a 1958 Ohio license plate. It's blue background with kind of a yellowish, maybe goldish colored numbers and letters on it. It, like I said, from 1958, took forever to sell, and it only sold for $8. So certainly not a good sale, that's for sure. But it's inside, so you don't get to see it anyway. Next item that sold. I don't even remember where I got this or why I got this. Set this down here. The only thing I can think of is it probably was part of a lot. So since it was part of a lot, I just looked it up and saw that it had some value and listed it. I don't remember what I bought this with, but it's this Betty Boop plate, which I think, yeah, comes from 1981. It says that on the back. It's a Betty Boop, boop boop a doop. It's got this plate hanger on it. Actually, that's what it was. I remember now. I got this at an estate sale where everything was just whatever you could stuff into a bag was $10. And I thought, why not? You know, I probably pay the equivalent of no more than $1, maybe more like 50 cents for it. But it sold for $15, free shipping. And in not that long, maybe 3-4 months. So it didn't take long at all for that to sell, which is kind of surprising. As I think a lot of you know, decorative plates in general, not really something you're going to want to hunt too hard for because they usually don't sell. But this one did. Looking for a pair of shoes, and I completely forgot what box it was in, but I thought it was box 30. And I hope that's not the case because it's definitely not in box 30. So let's walk back this way and start that whole process again. Oh, 32, box 32. These are a pair of Nike Air Max 90s. Second pair I've sold somewhat recently. Sold a white on white on white, triple white pair. $40 not too long ago. And these ones I picked up for $5 and they sold for $25. Let's show you what they look like here. There they are. So these had some condition issues. There was quite a bit more wear on these, which is why I was able to pick them up for relatively cheap at the thrift store. But the bubble is still good on them, and there's actually, you know, if I wanted to take the time, I could have painted these, but I just didn't care that much. But maybe the buyer of these will, and in that case, he'll have a nice pair of Air Max 90s for only $35, all in, including shipping. And I think we're now to our big item. Not even close. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more items, and then we'll be there. This was probably one of my worst sales of Crocs sandals, or just sandals in general. Still made a small profit, but not nearly as large as some of my others. But these are a pair of Crocs. What are they called? Iconic KD2s, K-A-D-E-E. I'm in the wrong place. Still used to going over there. I picked these up for $4.99 and cleaned them up. They cleaned up quite nicely. Actually, $3.99 is what I paid for them. I can tell because it says 4 right there on the bottom. So $3.99, and they sold for $12 plus shipping. So 4 into 12 is not spectacular, but it's certainly not the worst sale by any stretch. We have another pair of shoes. Then we have a cassette tape. So this next pair of shoes, it's back into that philosophy that I have of it is summer. It's time for people to go hiking more. So let's try and find more hiking shoes. Time out while I look for these. Okay, so these shoes I picked up at Goodwill, and I'm going to say I probably spent $10 on them. They're Merrell Moabs. I think Moab 3, based off of the look at them, of them. But very good condition, hardly worn at all. Didn't have to do that much cleaning at all on them, but I did a little bit, and they sold a little bit longer than I thought it would take, but they sold in under 3 months for $40 plus shipping, so $10 into $40. And then I got this next item at the Goodwill outlet. So I bet you I paid somewhere around $1.25 for it. It is Charlie Brown Christmas. Why is it there's not a tape in here? Oh boy. Okay, so I sold this Charlie Brown Christmas Vince Guaraldi trio that I picked up at the Goodwill outlet. Sold it for $8.95 plus shipping. The problem is there's no cassette tape in here because I think what happened. I have a message out to an old buyer. I think what happened is I tested out this Studebaker brand portable cassette player, and I think I put that tape in there, that cassette, to test out to see if it worked. But I think I forgot to take that cassette out, and I shipped that player off a few months ago. So I sent a message to the buyer saying, you know, hey, I have a random question for you. Did you by any chance find this cassette tape in there? Of course, it's theirs to keep. I'm not expecting them to send it back. I just kind of want to know if I should hunt for this some more. I don't have to ship this out till tomorrow. Or do I message the buyer and admit my oopsie? Anyway, I hope it's, I don't know what I hope. Maybe I'll be able to have the buyer, reach out to the buyer and see if there's a another cassette that I have listed that they might want to exchange it for. I don't know why they would, because the types of cassettes I have are nothing near this one. But I do not want to have to cancel that order. Such is life. All right, last item that sold. For the few of you that are still going to be sticking around, it's my big item that you may have seen in one of my previous videos that I sourced. And I went a different route than I thought I was, and I'm totally pleased with the end result. So I sold my JFK Nodder that I picked up for $1. Let's set this down and I'll show it to you so you guys can get a good look at it. This is from, I think, 1960 or so. And it says, I don't care if you are Attorney General, you are offside. Picked that up for $1. That's the one that one sold back in November of 2023 for, I want to say $1,000. And there's another one listed for $2,500, another one listed for right around $1,000. Another one listed for $750. Mine had a little bit of condition issue to it, and I only paid $1 for it. So I listed it for $650. Got a ton of watchers and got a bunch of offers. Some were quite low, like I think somebody offered me $200. I think somebody offered me even $100. One person that originally offered me something like $375. We went back and forth, and we finally settled on $415 plus shipping for this item. So that for sure is a big score. I'm quite pleased with that one. I will definitely take $1 into $415 any day of the week. I think we all would. That is a great sale to end this video on. So thank you all so much. I really hope that you learned something from this video. Please like it if you did. Please subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications about content like this in the future. I wish you all success and the best of luck out there. We will catch you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.